Welcome to Whiteboard Friday. Well, actually, it's not Friday, it's Thursday, but it's Christmas Eve and it's the last Whiteboard Friday of the year. Yay! So, hooray! And the topic for today is the 12 blogs of Christmas. What were the top 12 issues that Kiwis cared about during 2015? Well, at least the Kiwis that bothered to read our blogs. Let's have a look and see. Down in number 12 and 11th place was, of course, the perennial favourite, housing. And we all know that the Auckland house markets continue to go through the roof this year. The Reserve Bank's been trying to bring interest rates down to help the rest of the economy, and that's just made the problem even worse. Come on, New Zealand, it's not rocket science. If you tax one form of investment and you don't tax another, where do you think people are going to put all their money? In the place where they don't get taxed. In 10th place, well, that at the moment is a secret. We will come back to that. In 9th place was climate change. And we at the Morgan Foundation were really happy that after 6 years of talking about climate change, since Gareth published Poles Apart, we have finally got New Zealanders talking about climate change. Yay! Of course, the big issue here was the government's proposal to reduce emissions by 11% by 2030. And they talked a lot about the costs of doing that, the costs being very high. It would be very hard for New Zealand to reduce emissions. We pointed out in this blog that about 95% of those costs would happen anyway. So they're a little bit overinflated in that respect. In 8th place and 6th place was the TPPA, being a very big issue for this year, incited lots of protests. What do we know about it? Well, it's turned out if it goes through, it may reduce tariffs to New Zealanders by about $260 million each year. On the other hand, we'll have to pay a bit more for drugs, and we will have to pay a little bit more for copyright for music and films and stuff like that. Artistic stuff. Is the deal worth it? Well, the big unknown, of course, is still that investor-state dispute tribunal. How much will that impinge on our sovereignty? In 7th place, and in 5th place, the unconditional basic income. Great to see this issue capturing the headlines this year. Awesome to see Finland and the Netherlands both taking forward experiments on this. Hopefully we will see the results of those experiments in the next few years, and the pressure will really come on to scrap this stupid welfare system entirely and give everyone an unconditional basic income of $10,000 or $11,000 per year. We think is potentially doable. In 4th place was wealth inequality. A blog about the work of Max Rashbrook this year, which showed us that about 10% of the richest New Zealanders own about 54% of the wealth. Of course, this is no surprise. We've been saying for some time that about half of the wealthiest New Zealanders don't even pay the top rate of income tax. So the current way of thinking about income tax is broken. You can't just keep on ramping up the rates at the top end because rich people know how to avoid those taxes legally. We need to think differently, which is why we've suggested a comprehensive capital income tax. The top 3 blog posts for 2015, and incidentally the 10th position, were all taken up by the wonderful flag debate. Now, of course, the contribution of the Morgan Foundation to this debate was to say, what we really need is a flag that tells a story about New Zealand, particularly the founding document, the Treaty of Waitangi, and the relationship between those treaty signatories, European Pākehā and Māori, and of course the wonderful new multicultural society that we have. We got some designers to run a competition and select a winner. And the winner was Wā Kāinga, known colloquially as Black Peak. You may recognise the design. There's a similar one that was on the ballot paper which had a similar idea behind it, which is great to see. And hopefully whatever flag gets chosen for our nation going forward will have a story behind it and will acknowledge that treaty relationship. So that are the 12 blogs of 2015. We look forward to next year and finding out what topics arise that inspire you in 2016. See you then.